Darth Vectivus is a character from Star Wars specifically introduced in the Legacy of the Force series, a series that we've been rereading. His history, however, is a strange one. It's actually open to interpretation, largely due to the limited information provided in the novels about Vectivus. Darth Vectivus was introduced first in Legacy of the Force Betrayal in 2006. He's introduced to the reader as a Sith Lord who managed to maintain a moral code while wielding the dark side of the Force at the same time. He's a quandary, a question. Is it possible to use the dark side of the Force without succumbing to destruction? Could someone wield the immense power of a Sith and remain true to themselves, untainted by corruption? These are the questions that have intrigued Jedi and Sith alike for thousands of years. While the galaxy has seen countless lords of the Sith who have burned with ambition, greed, and cruelty, one name stands different from the rest: Darth Vectivus. Unlike Sidious, Vader, or others, Vectivus is said to have maintained his morality, lived in harmony with the dark side, avoided the catastrophic downfall that so often marks the end of a Sith's legacy. But what was this Sith truly about? Was he the embodiment of balance, or was his story a deception? A carefully crafted one to seduce one of the galaxy's most powerful Jedi, a member of the Skywalker lineage, the young Jacen Solo. In this holocron, we'll delve into the history of Vectivus, his philosophy, and the role his story played in the transformation of Jacen into Darth Vectivus. Along the way, we'll also ask the ultimate question: can the dark side ever truly be wielded without devastating consequences? Is it evil? Darth Vectivus once entered the galactic lore through the words of Lumaya. Lumaya was a Sith disciple who sought to reshape the galaxy in the aftermath of the Empire's fall. According to her, Vectivus was unlike any other Sith Lord that the galaxy had known. Centuries before the rise of the Empire, likely during the rule of two, Vectivus began his life not as a power-hungry warrior or as a connected politician, but was a shrewd businessman. He discovered a Force nexus hidden within a cluster of asteroids and established a mining operation in order to harness its resources. But this nexus was no ordinary location. It radiated with a side of the Force that was unfamiliar to most: the dark side, tempting and influencing all who approached it. Vectivus was Force sensitive, though not trained in the Jedi tradition. Drawn to the mysterious dark side, he studied the power for weeks, learning to use it not for conquest, but rather for pure understanding's sake. Unlike other Sith Lords who sought domination, Vectivus approached the dark side as a scholar, a practitioner, much as the Jedi approached the light. He eventually, though, embraced the mantle of a Sith, but his ambitions were tempered by an unusual sense of ethics. Lumaya described Vectivus as a Sith who lived in peace and prosperity, retaining his friendships, his family, and a moral code. She explains that he wielded the dark side with precision and control, avoiding the excesses and destruction typically associated with all of his kind. The asteroid that served as his base of operations became a symbol of that philosophy. There, he delved deep into the mysteries of the Force. He used the Nexus as both a source of power and a place of refuge. But unlike Sidious, who spread fear and chaos, or Lord Bane, who established the rule of two, Vectivus' reign left no trail of bloodshed nor devastation. His philosophy suggested that the dark side, while dangerous, could be harnessed without losing one's humanity. If you were to ask Darth Vectivus if the Sith were evil, he would say of course not. They were not inherently evil. It was simply another approach to understanding what is the masterpiece of the Force, and he learned to master an element of it. Vectivus' question was, can knowledge be evil? Centuries later, Vectivus' story would resurface as one of the most pivotal moments in all of galactic history, although he had been long dead. In the novel Betrayal, Lumaya, the self-proclaimed Dark Lady of the Sith, introduces Jacen Solo to Darth Vectivus' legacy. Jacen, the son of Han Solo and Leia Organa, was a Jedi Knight known for his philosophical mind and his insatiable curiosity towards the Force. He approached the Force much differently than other Jedi. He sought to understand the Force in all of its aspects, exploring paths that others in the Jedi Order feared to tread. This made him the perfect target for Lumaya. Lumaya painted a picture of Vectivus as a Sith who embodied everything that Jacen believed was possible, a wielder of the dark side who maintained his integrity and acted for the greater good. She used the story to challenge Jacen's perspective on the Sith, arguing that the dark side was not evil, that it was simply a tool, and its morality depended on the one who used that tool. To Jacen, this idea was intoxicating. He had long questioned the Jedi Order's rigid dichotomy of light and dark. Could he embrace the dark side and use it to bring peace to the galaxy without falling into corruption? Could he follow in the footsteps of Darth Vectivus and become a new kind of Sith? If you guys would like to see a video all about Jacen's fall to the dark side in full, please suggest it down below, and if you could find the time to leave a like, that would also help a great deal. Anyway, the true details of Vectivus' life are shrouded in mystery. His story comes entirely from Lumaya, a master manipulator with her own agenda to turn Jacen. There are no independent records or witnesses to verify his existence, much less know about the righteous life that he apparently lived. Some historians and Jedi speculate that Vectivus' story was either exaggerated or was entirely fabricated, a Sith myth. After all, the Sith are notorious for their cunning and their deceit. Whether or not Vectivus truly existed as Lumaya claimed, his story did serve its purpose. It planted a seed of doubt in Jacen's mind, and it opened that mind up to the dark side. Jacen's encounter with Lumaya and her tale of Vectivus set him on a path that would forever change the galaxy. Convinced that he would wield the dark side for the greater good, Jacen abandoned the teachings of the Jedi and embraced the way of the Sith. He became Darth Vectivus, a powerful, tragic figure. He viewed his own fall as a great tragedy. Under the guise of protecting the galaxy, Vectivus unleashed destruction and chaos. His noble intentions were consumed by the very power that he wanted to control, proving that even the most well-meaning Sith cannot escape the corrupting influence that is the dark side. In the end, Jacen's journey raises the question that Vectivus' story poses. Was it ever truly possible to use the dark side without succumbing to it? Or was Vectivus' tale a lie? A trap to seduce yet another soul into the Sith's eternal cycle of ambition and ruin. The story of Vectivus remains a mystery, a puzzle that continues to intrigue many of us. Whether he was a real Sith or merely a fabrication of Lumaya's cunning, a straight-up lie, his legacy serves as a reminder of the dangers of the dark side. Can one truly walk the path of the Sith without losing themselves? Or is the dark side an inherently corrupting force? Is it doomed to destroy all that embrace it? The answer may never be clear, but the question remains as compelling today as it was when Vectivus' story was first told. Is it possible to embrace the Sith and the dark side without being consumed by its evil? If Vectivus' tale is true, it means that it is possible to wield the dark side responsibly, to be a Sith, and avoid selfishness, destruction, and cruelty. But even if one does no harm, does that necessarily mean that they are doing good? Can someone stand in the shadows and not cast darkness on those around them? Is living a life of neutrality, abstaining from overt evil, enough to claim any mantle of morality? Or does the refusal to act in the face of suffering simply make one complicit in the larger evils of the galaxy? These questions go beyond the Sith. They challenge us to think about the very nature of power, responsibility, and morality. They remind us that the Force, like life itself, is not always a simple choice between light and dark, but a complex interplay of intent, action, consequence. But what do you think? Darth Vectivus, was he evil? Was he good? And was he even real? Until next time, my friends, thank you so much for opening today's holocron. May the Force be with you, and I'll hopefully see you soon.